There's been over 700 cancellations of flights just within the last couple hours here in the United States, and there's more coming. Hey everyone, it's me from my channel. A lot going on right now. Of course, we have escalation in the Middle East. We've got Hamas and Israel going back and forth. And this is leading to some major disruptions around the globe. When it comes to air traffic and commercial airlines, American Airlines has now cancelled 92 flights just today alone because of this, which is pretty unprecedented. The airline had been preparing for this before it even happened by reducing the amount of flights they were doing to certain areas. It's not enough for American Airlines or really any other company. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that airlines will cancel flights for two reasons. One is because they have to. For example, if a plane is in the air and there is a rocket attack happening in an airport, then that plane is going to get cancelled because it's too dangerous to land. Or if you have pilots and crew members who are stuck somewhere where they're not supposed to be, meaning they re-not on the clock and they and fly the plane because they re-not on the clock and they're re-not in the right place, then again you have to cancel flights. But also, airlines will cancel flights for a second reason, and that is because people aren't flying. If people say, I'm not getting on a plane today, I'm not getting on a plane tomorrow, because I do want to know what happened with this conflict, then airlines are going to cancel flights proactively in advance, because they do want to put planes in the air if they have to turn around and go back. Now, that second part is what's happening with American Airlines. They're not having active problems at the moment, but they're expecting that there may be problems later. So they're cancelling flights proactively just in case. So as of right now, about 3% of American Airlines flights have been cancelled. That's almost 10% of their flights to and from Israel. But so far, there hasn't been any major incidents reported, other than maybe a few rockets landing near an airport. That being said, things could always change. This conflict could escalate even further. More countries could get involved. You could see more attacks against airports, more attacks against planes. And this is why airlines are taking such drastic measures. You've seen Delta cancel flights. You've seen United cancel flights. All of these different airlines are cutting back. Some of them are even cancelling flights to the Middle East altogether. And that brings us to Great Britain and the United Kingdom, as well as Ireland, who both have now closed down their airspace to all incoming aircraft from the Middle East. And this means that even if a flight is not going directly to Israel or directly to Iran or directly to any country in the middle of this conflict, even if it's coming from the area, if it's coming from the Middle East, if it's coming from any country in that region, then it cannot enter the airspace of the UK or Ireland until further notice. Now, this has led to some major issues for airlines like British Airways, which has cancelled multiple flights that were supposed to be connecting flights through the Middle East. So imagine you're going from New York to India. You book a ticket with British Airways. You fly to New York, you're supposed to connect in the Middle East. Well, now that flight can't happen. And so British Airways has cancelled multiple flights, and they're saying that more cancellations are expected. Now, what about other countries? What about the United States? Are we closing down our airspace to anything coming from the Middle East? No, we're not doing that. However, what we are seeing is a big change in the amount of traffic that is coming from the Middle East into the United States. There's just a lot less of it. There's a lot less flights coming from the Middle East into America right now, which makes sense because a lot of those flights are coming from Israel or from airlines based in the Middle East that are now dealing with this conflict. But even beyond that, even beyond the fact that there are just less flights coming from the Middle East to the United States right now, we're also seeing a big drop-off in the amount of passengers that are getting on planes who are saying that they're recoming from the Middle East. Now, it's important to note that you could still fly from the Middle East to the United States. If you wanted to take a trip from, say, Saudi Arabia to New York City, you could still do that. You can still get on a plane. There are still flights running. The same goes for Europe as well. However, we see a big decrease in the amount of people who are voluntarily getting on planes and flying over to Europe or the United States if they are coming from the Middle East. And the reason for this is kind of twofold. First of all, many people from the Middle East might not want to go to Europe or the United States right now, because they fear that if they go there, they will get stuck there. They won't be able to get home. And if that's the case, many people are just saying, I'm not going to travel right now. I'm going to wait until this conflict is over. The other part of this, though, is that even if you are in the Middle East and you wanted to come to Europe or the United States, you might not be able to because of the increased cost of travel. It's already expensive to fly to Europe and the United States from the Middle East, but it is much more expensive now because demand is high. There aren't a lot of flights. People who want to get out of the Middle East are scrambling to get on whatever flights are available. and so prices are just skyrocketing. I talked about this yesterday in my video where I went through American Airlines and showed you that prices had increased by hundreds of dollars just in the last day or two. Well, that same thing is happening across the industry. We're seeing prices go up. So if you wanted to go from the Middle East to Europe or the United States, you probably couldn't do it now, even if you wanted to, because the price is so high. And that's really what we're looking at here. The price and the cost to travel is going up. And this is something that we're likely going to continue to see in the future. As long as this conflict continues to escalate, as long as it looks like it could spread to other parts of the world, you're going to see the price of travel continue to increase. You're going to see more cancellations happen, because there's going to be less and less willingness among airlines to send their planes into areas where there could be a risk of attack. All of this could change tomorrow. The situation could de-escalate. We could look at this and say, wow, that was nothing. Everything goes back to normal. The airlines cancel some flights, but then everything goes back to normal. However, it's also possible that things could continue to get worse. It's possible that more countries get involved, that there are more attacks against planes and airports, that there are more disruptions in the air. And that's why it's so important to monitor this situation closely, not just for the safety of everyone involved, but also for the price of your ticket. If you have a trip coming up, make sure you check with your airline. Even if you do plan on traveling to the Middle East or any country that is potentially affected by this conflict, you should still check with your airline just in case they have to cancel flights. Or just in case they raise the price of your ticket because you're a person who is booking from an area that could potentially be affected by this conflict. With that being said, that is all I've got for you right now. A lot going on. I expect things to change hour to hour, minute to minute. So make sure you subscribe to my channel so you can stay updated. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know where you're watching from and if you're planning on traveling anywhere anytime soon. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you in the next one.